Wait till John Faker gets in the room and then just
surprise.
Is it ASMR time?
John got a comment in there. He obviously wants to have the first comment up, and it's a pretty good one. He says, college football is like if you combine meth and cocaine, I wouldn't know, while strapping on rocket skates and jumping out of an airplane. That's pretty good. I like
what
that.
was the John Bowie tweet, which was about hockey overtime?
I think I've seen it, but I don't remember it now at all.
It's like, why do 10 lanes of cocaine when you could just watch overtime hockey, playoff overtime hockey?
Here it is, John. Yes, hold on. Stand by. I'll be able to get this for you. Why watch overtime playoff hockey when you can simply snort cocaine and ride a motorcycle out of a helicopter?
There you go. There you go.
Welcome to the Boiled Sports Handsome Hour. It is a post-bucket Handsome Hour.
And we have all received our buyouts.
I was going to announce that Boiled Out is surprising us. He's leaving for Hammer and Rails for an unprecedented 10-year, $425 million agreement. No, he's not. He's actually not.
None of that is
never do that.
$425. 10 years, $425.
That would, I mean, there's a price. Oh, there's a
there's a
price
price
to play by the
so,
fire.
There are a million things we can point to that were fun about this day and this season, but one of my favorites so far.
Absolute silly.
One of my favorite. There's two. First of all, Oklahoma fans, you got to reel it in. Got to get it together, friends. Like, I get being mad. I would be a little upset too, but
they've never experienced this.
But there was but the fans are one thing. If you're a fan and you're furious, you're a fan. You're entitled to be a nutball. It's the paid writers and beat guys. Like one guy put up a thing
when he
runs a recruiting site and he retweets about the insanity, the 110 million over 10 years or whatever it is that's being reported for Lincoln Riley. And he said,
was that 10 or was that 8?
No, I thought it was 10, but it doesn't matter. It's obscene. My point is, he retweets it and says, "Still not enough to get me to live in L.A."
This
really?
Is like an actual. That was an actual reporter.
That was like a recruiting site guy.
See, but those are fake. Those are people. Those are idiots like us.
Okay, then there was a verified beat guy who put up a tweet explaining how much more Lincoln was going to have to pay in taxes in California than he does in Oklahoma. Like. Okay.
It's just like Dowd winning the lottery. Yeah, I'll try paying those taxes just once.
Try. I want to try it.
Exactly. Let's just see. Let's just see how it is.
Like, I got a question for you. How did Riley live in a $500,000 house? I mean,
no, a lot in Oklahoma.
No. So he said
$500,000.
So there were two. It was two $500,000 over.
Yes, over asking.
Over asking.
It was $1 million bonus.
We will sell your two houses for you, and we will give you $1 million. Yeah.
What were you saying? Because you think he must have been in a more expensive house?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, sure. But 500 goes a long way in Oklahoma. I would.
He's a modest man.
That's a what? That's a $800,000 house in Geist. It's $1.5 million in my.
There's a bubble here right now. It's bad.
Oh, it's
way too expensive right now.
So
what a strange, what a perfect
wonderful
world.
Exactly.
Wonderful.
What have I been saying all year? I love everything about. I'm the way about college football that Anisha is about the NBA. Only I'm right.
I love the coaching season. You say that, but you get high on those basketball fumes too. You say that, but you're not. You're not a purist like Boiler
I'll have some
is.
like somewhat not obscure, but I'll have somewhat like I'll make a comment to you and Michael that's like a little too in the weeds, and I'm like, oh.
Yeah. I'm like, oh, he's listening to basketball podcasts again. Oh yeah, buddy.
I'll say something. I'll be like, oh, that doesn't sound like the casual fan comment. That sounds like I've been watching. No. But college football, what a gift every week. Like, think back, guys. End of August, week 0, which we talked about being a great invention. You got to see Frost lose to Burt in week 0. And then we got to wrap it all up with him losing again on Thanksgiving weekend.
Put a bow on it.
Oh, it's so wonderful. Yeah. And then we go right from that into this nonsense where you've got teams theoretically on the playoff bubble. Notre Dame is there's a scenario where they can make the playoffs still. And
so does that mean he's not going to be coaching? Because they're going to announce tomorrow.
So Notre Dame could
Right.
be in the playoff.
Right.
Cincy could be in the playoff, and they might be looking for a new head coach. Like,
Wild.
Leaving before that. Is there any way he coaches the playoff? No, right?
I wouldn't think LSU would be okay with that. No way.
Right.
So
when he wins a national title on his way out, that's theoretically possible right now.
What happens if both? Since, by the way, we need to timestamp this. It's 9:14 p.m. Eastern time on Monday evening, the 29th. We have just found out.
What's the name of the show, Jay?
Which show?
This show. The show you're the host of.
Us. You have one.
I introduced us already. You idiots weren't paying attention. I said, welcome to the Bold Sports Handsome Hour.
No, you're right. We weren't paying attention. Brian Kelly has just left Notre Dame. Yesterday, 2 days ago. I don't know. What is time? Yesterday.
Today.
We find out.
Like minutes ago.
No. The Lincoln Riley.
That was late yesterday.
Lincoln Riley was yesterday.
But you said Brian Kelly, didn't you?
Yeah. So, I'm just recapping.
Okay, go ahead.
And so, it is possible that Fickell takes the Notre Dame job, and Cincinnati is playing Notre Dame in the playoff. Correct?
Huh?
There's no playoffs.
You mean if they both make it?
If they can both make it, of course.
Oh, they could play each
other.
But
I think there's still some movement possible, depending upon what Georgia, Alabama do. Michigan does. Yeah, there's
right now they're not in.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying.
It's Michigan.
Right now they're not in it. But the only way Notre Dame makes it is if Cincinnati is there too. So if Notre Dame makes it, because there's no way they're going to pick Notre Dame.
You're right. There's no way Notre Dame could get put in over Cincinnati. Right? Yeah. Well, that could never happen.
No, they beat them head to head. It doesn't matter.
You act like wait, is this the same media group that voted on basketball rankings earlier today?
But there is no Purdue Duke as okay. Here's
there is. It's exactly what that is.
That is a damn good comparison.
Oh my goodness! Here's the dumbest thing of all time. Hey, is there an event where the runners of the Big Ten and the
Let's
ACC
say,
knew
hypothetically there were two conferences and they agreed to play a series of games against one another.
And let's say that there were two teams clearly that were national title favorites.
I've seen
Maybe line them up.
I've seen this complaint. But these matchups are determined last year.
They could move that shit around.
It's only announced in the summer. And whether it's determined or not, it's only released in the summer. They can change it. Also, Purdue has played Florida State 7 times in this. And so, by the way, all respect to Leonard Hamilton, he is real good. Florida State is always real good. They're going to be tough. They're always tough.
But that should not be a.
That should be a win. They're not going to. They shouldn't lose. So. It's at Mackey. They shouldn't lose. It should be a comfortable victory.
They almost got beat somebody when they were healthy by somebody that were there healthy last week. Yeah. That wasn't good.
They're young.
And they're down 3 players this week. It's going to be bad. And I think Purdue's as mad as I am right now about not being number one.
Why not just match up the 2 best teams in the conference?
Oh, gosh.
Match up Purdue and Duke, number 1 and number 2. Let's go. Yeah. Play it in Cameron. Play it in
Jay, did you and I go to the – no, we didn't go to the Purdue Duke game.
We went to Purdue Duke in the Sweet 16, not the one that was.
Okay, not the one in Mackey. We didn't go to that one. Yeah,
I didn't.
Yeah, I've seen Purdue play Duke twice though.
Yeah, it hasn't gone well. Has it? Yeah.
It's not gone well at all.
I'll take them this year. I don't care with this
team. Oh hell yeah!
Also in November. Also, I would love to have played them now and then try to play them again. In April. I
want everybody right now. If I'm Purdue, I want all of it. Let's go.
Give me Bama. I want Bama.
Exactly.
So we were getting off the subject here, though. So Notre Dame and Cincinnati could both be in. That'd be fun. John Younger, probably younger, says, "Did anything happen today in college football?" Yeah, it's. I was getting into my rant about how wonderful college football is, and you've heard me, if you've been paying attention, say this before. College football is so weird in the fact that it's so fun and so great every week. And then the week after the regular season ends, it's also great because of this. And then it's the only sport that ends with such a whimper. We go now we just shut it down for a month and then play a bunch of games that no one cares about unless their team's in it. And then we still pretend that those New Year's Day games are, it's so important. No, it's not. No one is going to care. Watch when Alabama loses to Georgia. Here's a good non-mattering bowl game, Alabama, Ohio State. That would be a great matchup, but no one's going to give a shit, nor should they, because we've now
replace it with the tournament.
Expand the playoff a little bit, not a ton.
No, expand that the whole way, because you know what happens? Let's say Pitt.
I don't want to add 4 games.
Why? Because that gives us all of December.
Oh, I'm not saying I wouldn't watch it. I just
and
think
then you could scatter the primetime game is always the playoff game.
Listen. There are so many good ways to do this, and they are not doing it right now.
Yeah.
That's all.
This is the wrong way.
Yeah,
that is correct.
Yeah.
And January 10th, that's the other part. Talk about a fizzling out, deflating balloon. By the time you get to the college football national championship, everyone's been done with college football for 6 weeks.
I forgot about it.
Right.
Coaches have moved on.
And you're now into NFL playoffs. You're literally into the playoffs. Just do it in December. Oh, academics.
Whatever.
It don't matter in March. Don't forget. Academics don't matter at all in March.
Academics do not matter. These are semi-professional
academics
teams
don't matter to the they don't matter to the student athletes that are really student athletes in the lower divisions. I mean, think about how big those tournaments are.
They have a bigger
They're
tournament.
playing for weeks. Give me a break.
Oh, right. The fact that we can do football, we can do a D2 football tournament or D1. Right. What is it? 1AA does it?
They all do it, don't they?
Yeah. FCS does it. Which is incredible. And what is that one? I think that one's either 16 or 32. It's a lot of teams.
Yeah, it's a lot of teams.
And so you got to win 4 games, 3-4 games to win a national championship. That's a lot. Yeah.
Apparently the tax tweet, according to Handel Jones, the tax tweet was the state treasurer candidate in Oklahoma. It's like, come on, guy. Yeah. Come on.
Clown.
Exactly. Even then, it's like, you don't want to be the whiny guy. You want to be the guy. Man, somehow this has also made Stoops even more of a legend in Oklahoma, because
he's stepping back in.
Yeah, he's stepping back in. He stepped back in that night. He was in the room, apparently. He was working the previous day, game day, and where he is a delight, by the way. He is just wonderful. He does not care at all about anything. He is a delight.
How old is he now?
I don't think 60? He's that old.
Yeah,
he's like 60. He quit in his 50s.
Oklahoma could give him the job back.
Sure.
If they wanted to.
They could say to him, let's get through the mayhem right now. Coach for 4 years. You can recruit, say you're here for 4 or 5.
They would have to pay a transition to the SEC, sure. That being said, they would have to pay him a wild amount of money.
So many people are, mostly Oklahoma fans, taking shots, that Lincoln Riley, the SEC. I never got the sense Lincoln Riley was afraid of much. That dude put together offenses that would be at home in the SEC, because as much as they all talk shit, they don't play that much defense down there.
No, Oklahoma never played defense.
Here's the question.
Well, they did, for sure.
Here's how you know he's not taking let's say USC was not open, and Lincoln Riley was offered the LSU job or an extension at Oklahoma. Where does he go?
He would stay at Oklahoma.
Of course he would, because it's a better job and he doesn't care. What's he going to do? Take a half step up in the SEC? He's got Oklahoma. LSU is one of the 5. I think LSU is one of the 5 best jobs in the country. That being said, he's at Oklahoma and he's got things clicking, and it'll be fine. So he wouldn't have been afraid of the SEC. It's just he is the best non-Saban coach in the country, and this is the way that he can establish the post-Saban dynasty. This is the clearest
the West. Way. The power is shifting out there after Saban quit.
Yeah.
You guys were saying, is he going to make whatever? Is he going to do well next year? He's going to run away with the Pac-12 next year.
You think next year?
I think he might be in the
playoff.
Right.
Yeah,
I think so too.
He also recruited SoCal constantly to Oklahoma. So those guys are all going to go there.
Guys,
exactly.
The portal. He could have half of the Oklahoma roster anyway.
The one-time transfer is now open, and it's the perfect time to do so.
Rattler's transferring.
Yeah, Rattler's gone.
Wonder where he's going.
No, he's leaving. He was going to go anyway.
I'm saying he's leaving, though. He's in the portal already. So there's a good chance. I mean, I don't even know what USC's roster
he doesn't want Rattler. He wants Caleb Williams.
He's probably coming to Purdue to battle.
You think he's going to get Caleb Williams?
I think Caleb Williams is going to do the one-time transfer. Yep.
Oof.
Yep.
If he guts Oklahoma.
It's a tough week for Oklahoma.
Man.
Let's. I mean, I know we can talk about coaching. We could keep doing that, but man, I just want to say that Saturday.
Maybe we should.
That Saturday was great. That Saturday was one of the most fun college football Saturdays. And our reporter Boiler Dad was at the Purdue game, of course, which we'll talk about. But
hey, what happened? What happened?
the only
I missed it.
Purdue reclaimed that damn bucket.
The only
Was it close?
downside,
It came down to the wire, didn't it?
And
it did not.
it was actually
It
not.
did not.
Yeah, it was wild.
The only downside of
a lot of
going
people
to that
thought,
game,
IU was ranked at the beginning of the season.
I think I hadn't heard. I think you will agree with this. The only downside of that is that you don't get to enjoy the rest of the college football Saturday, because when you're watching it from home and you can watch those 12 o'clock games, which this year there were some fantastic ones, and then that window is full of great games, the 3:30 window, and then you go right into games like Bedlam at 7:30. Like,
well, you know what though? I got to watch the Michigan Ohio State game until right at the end.
Outside?
AJ's. I watched it.
At AJ's. AJ's.
AJ.
Where'd you watch it? I'm sorry. Where did you watch it?
AJ's. You can go there in person. You can order ahead. Eat8.com. Just off campus. Talk to Adam. Talk to Jeff. I actually did get the mac and cheese bites. Split them with LBD. Saw a BS listener / watcher. He came over and said hi. Not kidding. Let's see. My voice is still not completely recovered, which is interesting. But actually, I'm audible though, which is good this time. That's because Purdue was on cruise control in the second half.
You didn't have to scream much in the second half.
To me, it's worth missing a few of these games just to watch that beat.
Oh yeah, I'm not saying I wouldn't go.
I
had
the Italian beef, by the way, guys. I had the beef.
The beef or the beef? Yeah, the beef.
Exactly. One of the beefs, but I had the Italian beef this time.
Okay.
So it's very good. But so seriously, ducking into AJ's when it was sleeting, because it was like freezing rain when we got on campus. And I was like, oh gosh, this is going to be an awful day. And then the rain calmed down and God shined upon our boilers.
By the way, I think it's time to retire a couple of things. Purdue in the rain.
Shout.
Yes.
I
mean, our tropes of, first of all, we used to talk about how
let's do this.
Purdue wilted in November for a long time. We haven't had to talk about that in forever because of Bromvember. We started calling it that a couple of years ago, and we didn't call it that this year.
September.
Did he own November again or what?
Yeah, exactly.
But did he own November again or what?
Yes.
Dude wins in November.
He does.
And they're starting to win in all types of weather.
Guess what they didn't do? This season? They didn't drop the game against a crappy team.
They didn't.
And they had one more chance to do it. By the way, IU went right down the field. Purdue
that first touchdown. Oh, you must have been
the defense looked horrible. Yeah. And I was like, oh no.
But then what did they do? They made an adjustment.
Yep, made an adjustment, and then IU was like, what? It was almost like Purdue defense didn't have helmets that first drive, really. They looked
I don't want to hit my head.
That and IU couldn't take advantage. The end of the first half was pretty bungled. Like that was kind of a disaster of or like a couple of drives.
That IU at one point they were at weren't they at 3rd and 30 or something?
And it was IU couldn't take advantage.
Purdue takes
of
a taunting.
Yeah.
After taunting the previous play so blatantly that as he did it, I was like, oh, I don't get a taunting flag. And then the broadcasters go, wow,
didn't he stand over him?
Yes, he chased him into the backfield, stood over him, and pointed at him.
Right.
And listen,
you guys were all lighting up the
entirely pro taunting. We are a pro taunting podcast.
Let me be clear.
But don't. It's 15 yards, and you got to. There's a time to taunt, and it's when you're up 30, and it doesn't really matter. Taunt at the end of the game, but then it was and then the next play, it's like, what are you doing? But that's the thing. They came out at halftime. IU couldn't take advantage at the end of the half for points, and they came out in the second half, and it was not even close. IU didn't even come out of the locker rooms, and Purdue was just
2-10,
dialed in.
0-9 in the Big Ten.
That is a broken program.
What was IU's record again? I'm sorry, I'm having difficulties here. What was IU's record again in the Big Ten?
Well, they had something about 9
lost
Indiana, but I think what they meant was 9 wins over Indiana because that's what the rest of the conference did. And LEO
lose everyone.
Lose everyone.
Listen, I love Leo, but lose everyone is.
You set yourself up with those gimmicks for those kinds of jokes. And one of the many things that were wonderful is I was reminded that it's not. Purdue doesn't have something stupid like row the boat or love everyone. They have just let's play football. And you could make fun when because we've made fun when that wasn't football. What was that when they played poorly? But it's pretty hard to turn that around on it because all we're saying is let's just play. Come on, let's play football. Yep. Let's do it. And they have been. They're 8-4. This is the same record that a Rose Bowl team had.
Yeah,
It's pretty good.
Wild. So there's some neat factoids about this season. I'm sure you guys have heard them. This one is my favorite. There's a couple that are my favorite. I talked about one. I'm going to reiterate it now that it's official. It is only the 7th 8-win season for Purdue since 1966. That's a big deal. That makes it special. And this is an awesome one because they said this in the stadium, one of those trivia things. When is the last time Purdue has won this many road games?
How many did they
You
win?
guys, I'm asking you two.
How many
I
did they
don't know.
win?
Road games, I don't know.
I think they won 4 on the road.
Take a quick look at the schedule here. Because I don't even know how many they won. So if they won the last time they were a good road team, it's been a while.
I'm going to give it to you. 1943.
Wow.
Come on.
Nope, it's true.
Well, so I look
1943. So guys, here's the whole thing. Okay. Anybody that wants to discount this season as special or fun, or just say, like, number one, we all talked about the rosiest of perfect situations was 8 wins, and it was impossible. It's on the tape. I'll admit I said that. And I also admit I said 5 to 6 wins. Yeah. I'll admit what I was. Okay. 8 wins is fantastic. With this schedule, that is fantastic. With this schedule, plus the fact they had an offense for 3 weeks that floundered about.
Mm-hmm.
This is incredible.
4 13-point games.
4 13-point
4 13-point games. Since Jack Mollenkopf, which I think we can classify as like any sort of version of modern football, right? Sure. Jack Mollenkopf played in a different era. Since Jack Mollenkopf, we've had 4 8-win seasons, 5 9-win seasons, and 1 10-win season.
Man.
Like this doesn't happen. This doesn't happen that often at all. This is awesome. And you know what was funny is the first part of that sentence you said, if everything goes perfectly. Did everything go perfectly?
No, not at all.
Not even close. And Purdue still capitalized. Purdue, again, won against a ranked team on the road, won in bad weather, and didn't drop a game against a bad opponent. Like, for the first time, it was kind of everything. And Purdue still had that same... The one thing that Brom still has, I think, is we can still say after the season is the slow start to the season, right?
A 3-2 start, and then at the end they won 4 of their last 5 against at Nebraska, versus teams. Michigan State, at Ohio State, versus Northwestern, versus Indiana. Like to beat Nebraska.
We said 3 wins that in September, 2 wins in October, and 1 win in November. That's what we asked for.
Yeah, and I think we said 2 in November if we wanted to get to 7.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I'm going to disagree with this comment. There's a comment up here by Step Through. It says, no semblance of a running game is our issue. I do not think that was an issue.
It wasn't an issue. Again, once things, shaped up, right? And
not an issue.
Once Horvath came back.
Well, take a look
at but it's really not an issue.
Look at the total yards. Look at total yards, right? It's not an issue if you're moving the ball.
Yeah, and they're scoring. This is the thing. If you're moving the ball and you're scoring, and they're not doing it like, we've had Purdue teams do this where the offense is just like the drives are way too quick so the defense can't rest. That's not what this offense does.
No.
This offense has very
those are slow drives. Yeah.
They're nice and measured.
Entirely honestly, this offense was like buying time, or it's almost like the defense was like it was the foundation. Like you were waiting until the defense attacked rather than the offense this year. The offense was really steady. I mean, what a fun season. This was awesome.
They just had that little hiccup in the middle. They started with 30 points and 49 points. Then they had a few. Then they had those 3 out of 4 weeks with 13. But that was clumped together. And the one that wasn't of the 4 was the win over Iowa. Yeah. Then they started scoring again, and they scored relentlessly.
Another fun factoid: the 2 longest runs of the season occurred versus IU.
2 longest runs.
Love to see
Kangaroo, one off the left end, I think was 45 or 50 yards, and then Downing had a 38 or 30.
Both of which were more than they had in some games.
Right.
Right? They were.
Yeah. Use the pass to set up the pass. That's what I'm saying.
That's right. Yeah. I don't need a run. I don't know why anybody would have a problem with that. I was watching NFL analysts talk about the brilliance of Tom Brady checking down and throwing underneath to whomever. It's just like a run. It really is.
Just use the pass to set up the pass. A short pass, set up the long pass. It's fine.
Yeah, it's fine.
Purdue throws the ball downfield. How many years did I complain about that That there were teams that knew Purdue was not going to stretch the field. Certain quarterbacks couldn't do it or wouldn't do it, and they would just not. They would not be honest because they didn't have to be. Yeah. And now O'Connell throws a beautiful deep ball. He's not afraid to throw it. I'm a little sad that some of the weapons are going to be gone next year, but that's college football, right? I mean,
but this is the thing. Let's think about this because we can say we're upset about the weapons being gone. Yassine showed us what he's going to be, right? Rice is going to be back. Mm-hmm. Wright looks fantastic.
Wright's the number one, and I feel totally fine with
it. Totally fine with it. Totally fine with it. And I think there'll be another guy rise. You've got Sheffield as well.
TJ Sheffield. I think he's going.
And I think there'll be another one to rise on top of that. Maybe he'll be one of the freshmen who's just kind of sitting around waiting. But there's more.
For the loss of Bell is going to be, I think, Bell Bell had the best season, of any Purdue player. I still think the MVP was Karlaftis, but Aiden O'Connell is also there.
Yeah, you could put him on the
that
table,
being said, I think this wide receiver room, hopefully, if the quarterback stays, if there's some quarterback continuity, which it's entirely up to him, and we don't fault him.
GBI makes it sound like they think it's happening.
He would benefit so much. Purdue would benefit so much from continuity.
Brock
and
Thompson, I saw you see that.
Brock Thompson, exactly. Brock Thompson. I love Brock Thompson. He's young too.
I always think that because he was an instant transfer, that was it.
But he's old.
After 1 year, but it's just this, new system.
Yeah, there's a lot of weapons here. There was another. I'll come up with it in a second. Step through. Interesting comment. Where do you guys stand right now before the bowl game? Is Bell a better receiver than Moore?
I know people are
Rondale? I don't care. I don't care. There is no. Exactly. This is the. This
I
is
love
the
all
question,
my children equally.
Right.
This is the question that bores me the most. This is absurd. Yeah. They are both. They were when they played. And when they were on it, the best wide receivers in college football. Why would I care who was better than?
Well, and not only that, they're not kind of receivers, so I think it's very hard to compare them. Rondale Moore is a beautiful slot, short pass guy who it was almost more exciting, definitely more exciting, to throw him a short little slant and then go, wee, what's going to happen now? Bell is the guy you want to throw it and say he's going to either outjump or outrun, not because he's faster, just because he's slipperier.
He's a technician.
Yeah. They were so different. Now, the only thing I will say I'm disappointed in is that we didn't get to see them do their thing on the field together more, because that would have been amazing to see that.
Did you guys watch the post-game presser with Bell by any chance?
Not yet.
Biggest takeaway from this is, remember, one of the goals to leave Wrigley Field without injury was probably a big one for Purdue fans. Purdue did not. Because Bell's last play at Wrigley, one of those. Well, he hurt his thigh and his hip, and that's why he was so ineffective. And he played because he knew he would draw their best corner and would open up the game. That's what David Bell is, right there. Right? Nobody knew it. He didn't practice all week.
I heard that I heard that post game, only from Newbert or something like that.
This is when the Jeff Brom ultra secret, tactic is a good thing, because I don't know if it would have mattered versus IU, but that was a big deal. So he's not hurt badly, obviously, but
he's, by the way, 20 yards. What is he? 25 yards away from
22
the all-time single.
22 yards.
I mean, you kind of want him just there for the bowl game to do that, but also just go, go be a professional.
He still led the team in that ass whipping in receiving yards. He still caught a touchdown where he got speared in the back.
Yeah, it was real cheap.
Oh my God!
How is that? By the way, we got a million things to talk about. I'm so tired of these rules. How is that? Because the IU player got hurt? Is that why it wasn't targeting? Because that was the very definition. He lowered his crown of his helmet into the spine.
Yeah, that's the one. That's the one that they used to warn everybody about, because it would paralyze the tackler, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that was a really dumb hit, and it took him out of the game.
And they looked at it weirdly.
And they said, "Oh, wasn't targeting." Oh, great, you get to stay in, but you're done for the day because you're stupid.
Dylan, a friend of the program, says he's going to miss seeing an anthrop on the field or on the court. Let's be honest.
Yeah, that's what the running joke all game. Our block of seats were saying the next anthrop is Jackson's son is going to be a freshman next year. And you know what? I think his big brother actually has a kid who's like 9 or 8.
It's only a countdown, so we're
Yeah,
just
nine
buying
more
time.
years.
coming again.
We're in the
Come
between
reload.
times. We're in the between Anthrop times.
Yeah.
I thought the way that I mean, so at least Anthrop leaves Purdue. Well, still got the bowl game, but he leaves Purdue with a signature play, and it was the reverse screen.
But he's got a pretty good highlight reel, Purdue.
I
He
mean,
really caught
does.
some nice touchdown passes.
He
He would
especially
be
when
wide
the
open sometimes.
when the receiving room wasn't working or when attention was everywhere else, he would be the kind of reliable valve, and that was awesome.
Well, Chris Beeler says the Anthem interview was great, and if you watch that after the game, I watched that. It was awesome. He got choked up during the interview, and I'm a sap for this stuff. And he said during the week, or I think it was Diener said during the week, Anthrop was talking to the team, addressing the team, and he broke down. This is family. It's literally family for him. Right? It's a big deal. And there's a great picture. I don't know if you guys saw it on Instagram of Jackson Anthrop sitting with Chris Kramer when he was a kid. Anthrop is looks like 9 or 10.
That makes me feel, oh my goodness.
Yes.
That makes my hips hurt.
Yeah, it's wild. Very, very cool.
That would be right, because that was 11 years ago when Kramer was a senior, I think. I think it was about 2010.
Yeah.
So
it was very funny because
awesome.
a lot of people when they're little kids, they just look like them with a bigger head, and that's what Jackson Anthrop was. He looks the same, but he doesn't have jacked biceps.
It's so good. I think Spencer Hall, every EDSBS, every day should be Saturday, described the Anthrop play against Michigan State with such joy because he knew the Anthrop story. And he was like, imagine this kid grew up down the street from Purdue, not wanting to do anything other than catch passes at Purdue. Hey, Purdue's a place where you can just catch passes and do whatever the heck you want.
Right.
That's perfect. Why be a blue blood when all of this Super League basically is happening right now, even if they say they're not? That's what all of this coaching carousel plus the one-time transfer rule is. It's basically a Super League. When you can't win a national championship, be Purdue. It's super fun. It's awesome.
Fun.
Be Jeff Brom at Purdue, and it's great.
Yep.
It's so fun.
I think Jeff Brom, I still do not think we're out of the woods. I think there are 2 potential jobs that could contact him, offer him $2 to $4 million more than he's making right now. All kidding aside.
Who?
I'm not gonna talk about that right now. I don't want
you don't want
bad juju. I don't want to bring it. I don't want to.
You want to give anyone the idea, right? Because the AD might be listening to those.
Maybe
schools.
everybody listening. Ads of all these schools are listening. I mean,
Notre Dame is not. Notre Dame is going to go elsewhere. Okay. And if Tennessee opens, he's already turned him down, and they're just going to get a raise. He's just going to get a raise from Purdue.
Well, I hope that whoever he pops into their mind, I hope it's not a big deal. Like you said, he's not. Here's the thing. One thing we all do as fans is we have a hard time separating the media buzz from the actuality, right? We've seen it 100 times where the media puts out a list. They're like, it's this and this and this. And you're like, you don't know. You're just guessing. You're just stabbing in the dark.
So the one that there are 2 jobs that in a vacuum, I've always thought, let's talk about this in the open because who the heck cares? This was an awesome season. Who cares? There are 2 jobs on paper that Jeff Brom, outside of Louisville and Purdue, is a perfect fit for. And that is Notre Dame and Oklahoma. Florida could be there, but that's a little outside of his
further away than he wants to go.
Yeah. Those all seem pretty good, though.
Notre Dame, and Tennessee, if everything was right, but Tennessee is a nightmare right now. I mean, Tennessee and Louisville are both nightmare athletic departments that you want no part of, and you would rather just get a $2 million bump at Purdue and get a $2 million bump in the salary pool and, keep building here. And the other thing is that I don't think Notre Dame would ever call to go hire Purdue's coach. So I don't think we have to worry about that.
Yeah, I don't think they would right now either. And this is the good thing.
Eventually,
next year, this is the really interesting thing about Jay's dream of 10 wins is that, and he can't even hear this right now.
No,
but if Jeff Brom gets 10 wins this year, somebody said this maybe in the comments or maybe on Twitter, that if Brom would have somehow grabbed 10 wins this year, he'd be on everybody's short list. There's no doubt. And next year, he's going to get 10 wins.
Yeah.
I think he's going to get paid this year, though. So I think there'll be more
And
security.
the
And all
carousel,
this stupidity is not going to be as crazy next year.
next year
True.
there still might be one or two of those blue bloods that open, but it's not going to be Michigan. It's
Texas is
not
going
going
to
to
open
be.
next year.
Yeah, I mean, and I don't know if Brom wants that job,
No,
right? I
oh,
mean,
they
like,
wouldn't. He'd have to be.
Oklahoma. Honestly, the one that I was worried the most of is Oklahoma, at all times. Um, I think he is such a perfect fit there. I think and Oklahoma is one of those things where the athletic director that runs it now, um, is the same athletic director that hired Stoops, and is the same athletic director that oversaw the handoff to Lincoln Riley. Same athletic department director that's run an athletic department that does not that does not do all of this kind of flash and all of that. They just kind of, it's the most boring most boring blue blood athletic department that exists right now. And that kind of perfectly fits. That being said, all of these, even Riley to USC was mentioned early. I think it was like a Yahoo guy. I think it was like 40 or something like that.
Yeah,
Who was
40's
like,
been on this.
you should do it. They should do it. They will.
Wasn't
And
Dan, what's
Feldman,
his name from SI? He used to be at SI now.
Bruce
Still goes
Feldman,
on.
Bruce Feldman.
Wetzel
Dan
was
Wetzel.
on it.
Wetzel is the one who was saying it.
Yeah.
And so even that was there. There is nothing and Oklahoma runs things very quietly and all of that. But there are much more obvious candidates for Oklahoma right now. And also, none of them even include him on the list, which makes it
Great.
very strange.
Great.
Exactly, which is great. Hopefully none of them are listening to the podcast right now. Hello,
That's right. It's
Oklahoma
important.
athletic director.
Yeah. I think it'd be smart I don't think Brom needs a major restructure, but maybe a little pay bump and a little, a year or two extra. Just,
Well, you have to do the year because he's got 4
Right.
now.
Right.
Yeah, and so you
Right.
can't let it dip below that.
Yep.
Also bump up the assistant pool, bump up, just show that it's, that is almost as important, for these coaches as the
Oh man, I
their
mean Shepard
awards.
year in year out. Obviously, he's had Superman to coach, but he's done an amazing job. It's not just the Superman that he coaches up. I mean, think what he did to Milton Wright this year. How
Mm.
Wright couldn't catch at the beginning of the
I
season,
mean,
and by the end of the
even
season, he
Sheffield.
looks all conference.
Even
So.
Sheffield develop into what he has.
Oh yeah,
has
yeah,
been great.
yeah. And I think Sheffield's got a long. He's got a high ceiling too. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. Is there anybody that have you read anything? I have not. That any Purdue players are leaning towards transfer portal. I haven't heard any of
I
that.
haven't heard anything on that front,
which is good. There's
I
one
mean,
real
it's going
big,
to.
it's going to happen. There'll be a couple. But when I don't know how to pronounce his name, I apologize. But Mabao, the offensive lineman he's gonna be significant to Purdue next year. He's a tackle.
Mm-hmm.
He'll probably take. Greg Long is petitioning for another year with the NCAA. I don't think he's gonna get it based on everything I'm saying. He's trying to get a hardship waiver, an extra 6-year because of his knees back when he was back west. But I don't think he's gonna. I don't think he's going to. LBD showed me something. I don't think he's going to get that extra year eligibility. But I think the offensive line is actually going to be really stout next year, even though they lose 2 guys.
I think the best. Purdue's losing their 2 superstars, but I do think that just like the basketball team, this is going to be a year, I think, of continuity. I say that, and Jeff Brom will be hired away tomorrow. So let's not say that too loud.
Yeah.
But that is kind of what I am anticipating. Let's see.
2022
is coming back.
You're the Boilermaker.
You're the Boilermaker. Either way, this was awesome. This was the season that you're hoping for if you're a Purdue fan, in 2017, and Purdue hires the number 1 candidate on the Boiled Sports, search for identified by the Boiled Sports search firm. And there was a little bit, I think Brian Newbert had the best line of this, which is, there was a little bit of a downturn when, in 2019, when injuries hit, in 2020, when the pandemics hit, both the COVID pandemic and the Bob Diaco pandemic.
Yeah.
It just makes me laugh every time.
Yeah.
Every single time. Every time there's enough jokes for Bob Diaco.
I've got an encouraging thing. One more thing. Speaking of players and stability, and AOC specifically, I did a little bit of research. His girlfriend, you guys probably all know this, plays volleyball for Purdue. Very interesting to me. She's 6'2". That's a tall girl. Very pretty girl, but because he's 6'3", 6'3 and a half. But she's a junior. That's my interesting piece.
Love will find a way. Come
Love
on,
will find
down.
a way. Love will hold you down. Love will give you wings. The whole thing, guys. So I'm saying AOC staying right there. That's my hot tip right there.
I would enjoy it. It would give what's his name, Brady Allen. It would give him a year to develop.
Yep.
You know, Jack the Snack. It's probably the official end of snack time.
Yeah, I think he's.
I yelled snack time so loud. So there are two fun parts for me. I yelled snack time for about 2 minutes when Jack came in, and then Wahlberg. I've actually been waiting for him to play, and I was like, "It's Wahlberg time! It's Wahlberg time!" And then he got the interception, and then I was like, "He's taking this thing over." Little preview of next year, Wahlberg time. I don't think it's actually going to be Wahlberg time next year. But anyway, okay. I did talk to Yanni Karloftis after the game for a quick second.
The future superstar.
Future. That's the future right there. That's can't wait. Can't wait. There's so much to look forward to. Such a fun season. So much bright horizon. The foundation has been reestablished for the program. What an excellent end to a cap of the season of them actually handling their business, doing it the right way, and having an old-fashioned bucket game where IU just gets thrashed. It was a lot of fun. It was a throwback Saturday.
And then the Michigan Ohio State game was wild. The Iron Bowl was wild. I mean, the Bedlam was crazy, and then the Carousel. It never stops. It never stops.
Yeah. Yeah, no, almost every game that I watched that I would flip to was within a score, and things were teetering. There was so much fun happening there, and you guys got to see more of it. It doesn't disappoint. But did you guys? So you guys weren't hanging on when the poll was going to come out like I was for basketball, right? I mean, that wasn't that big of a deal to you.
No, J Money was a little more optimistic.
It was
than. But
I think he had good reason to be, because when you spell it out, it's absurd. But then you remember the idiots that are voting.
So I thought Duke would be number one, but I thought it would be close. I thought it would be kind of split, and it would just be more to Duke, because it's an impressive win. I mean, it was a really good win. That being said, Purdue's got 2 of them. Duke also has a couple of good wins. I thought it would be close. It was 51 first place votes to Duke, and 9 second place votes or first place votes to Purdue.
Here's where I was confident.
1 to Gonzaga. There was still 1 first place vote to Gonzaga.
Yeah, of course there was.
So Purdue
next week Purdue will have 4 and Gonzaga will have 4 or something stupid.
Purdue was number 3, coming off a couple of really good wins, and now people act like North Carolina one wasn't that good. It was good when they got it.
Yeah.
And the only game Purdue played this week. Now, you can argue that, Purdue didn't beat someone else good this week and Duke did. That's true, but the team that Purdue did play, they beat by 57 points. I think when you do that sort of thing, that is punctuating the fact that you are a dominant team. When you're number 3 and in the same week 1 and 2 lose, it's usually safe to assume that 5 isn't going to go to 1. That's why I was confident.
Yeah,
even
when 5 is Duke on K's farewell tour.
You're right.
Right.
You're right.
Somebody brought a great point up on Twitter. I thought it was a great point, because they said, let's not forget the starting point for Duke. They came off an 18-11 season.
Yeah.
I mean, they should have been barely in the top 25 by the media's own measure.
They were 18-11 last year, Purdue. Yeah. They would not. They'd be maybe now in the top 20.
Right. And instead, Duke is, right in the top 10, bang, meteor to the 1. Right?
The other reason I was feeling optimistic about that is I've seen the shift, and so have you guys, in the perception of Matt Painter and his program.
So yeah.
The media,
but I think it's all bullshit now. That's the thing. That's what that proved that to me, is I think it's all lies, and I don't believe any of them. Screw all you.
Purdue is number 2.
Yeah, no,
screw all.
And the only one ahead of us is Duke. And that's
they are all over Mark Few and Coach K. They are just,
and when Painter is up there with Mark Few and Coach K, that means Painter is beloved by the media. I think we do have to this has to be something we also retire. I think the media
Nope,
loves
they woke it up
Painter,
in me. They
and
stoked
they
this.
love
I was ready to I put it to bed. They stoked it so bad in me. I'm so angry.
Purdue.
Like I'm mad.
Why?
I was
Purdue
mad, like
will be
yelling
number
out
one.
loud mad
Purdue
today.
will be number one this year. It doesn't
I
matter in
I said that
November.
a couple weeks ago.
Purdue will
and
be
So did
number
I,
one.
but I look at Gonzaga's schedule. That's the problem. Is Gonzaga plays nobody, and we can all say that conference is weak, and the media can say it, and yet Gonzaga still gets the respect.
They're
I
good.
think
playing
Purdue.
a tough
I think
schedule.
Purdue will be number one before Gonzaga is again.
No, I don't think so.
I don't think so.
I think if Duke loses and Gonzaga and Purdue keep winning, Gonzaga will jump back to number
Nope.
one.
I am quite confident Purdue will be number one.
Okay.
They were coming off a loss, and they still were almost receiving the same votes that Purdue was. I mean,
what
that's
they
the
finish?
thing.
3? What were
They finished 3. Yeah. And they finished 3 and very close to Purdue. I don't think it's going to be very close if Duke loses this week. Let's say Duke loses
Let's
this
say
week.
Duke loses
Purdue
and
wins.
Gonzaga and Purdue don't. What happens then? Purdue's won?
Purdue's won. And it's pretty clear. And it's a pretty wide margin. And it will be great.
Kevin Spry says Anisha's smart. That must be a misprint. I don't know why he put that in there.
Exactly.
That
No,
is-
I
doesn't
think
make any sense.
we really have to retire this now because there is nobody that loves there is no school that
Purdue
has
hasn't been number one ever. This is the thing,
We've
and this
never
was
earned
it.
it. We've never
Fucking
earned it.
this time. Sorry, this is like this makes me.
It's been one week that Purdue has earned
God.
the number one seed, like in the last 20 years.
What'd you say? Say it again.
It's been 1 week since
But they earned
Purdue has put together a resume worthy of the number one.
You know,
of the number one.
But you're acting like Purdue wasn't in the conversation ever. You said
No,
number
but
one
this
seed,
is all-
and that's what wakes it up for me. You had teams that were number one seeds in the NCAA tournament, but didn't get a sniff of number one over and over and over. And
Yes, because
although
they
they were
didn't
2
get
and
it.
3, they were miles away from number one. This time they're right there, and by all means, they should have been there. And the media's like, "Oh no, we're going to keep you in your spot."
This is ridiculous. This is absolutely ridiculous.
Screw them.
It's been
Screw 'em. I love it. I like this feeling.
And it's
I'm all
the end
about
of
it.
November. It doesn't matter, but also it will happen.
Sure, it doesn't matter. The end of the year matters, but they are not mutually exclusive. I keep saying this to people
I
on
know,
Twitter.
but it's
this
going
isn't
to
like you have to
happen.
choose. Okay, you can have number one now, or you can win a national title. and go
No,
to
but
Final
it's
Four.
also
That's
not like
it.
they're not going to be there's no chance they're number one next week. Like that's what I'm
There's a
saying.
chance.
Purdue is going to be number one before 2021 ends.
I'll drop it then. How about that? We got a deal then. I'm not doing it though. I'm not dropping this now. That's for damn sure. I'm not happy, and I think this is bull crap. And we want to talk about years and years of conspiracy. I'll do it right now because this program, you wrote about it. There are other places that have talked about this. It's a great program, and yet they've never been number one. And when the opportunity is there for the media to do it, they give Duke 51 votes. Give me a break. If it was
51?
close, if that's the thing, I'd move aside. Like 9 to 51? 51?
That is obscene.
That's absurd.
By the way, Ken
Not
Palm
The fix is in, friends.
Ken Palm also has also has Purdue at number 2, but number 1 is Gonzaga.
Right.
And you know where Duke is? Duke is number 6.
The computers, I mean, I've
Whose
always
argument you making here? Whose argument you making?
right.
No.
You're
You seem like you're making my
That's what I'm saying.
So what I'm saying is that it's been 1 week and it's Coach K's farewell tour. That is not enough to say that the media hates Purdue. The media loves
They don't hate Purdue.
The media
They
took
love
a
Purdue in their
team
spot.
that lost to the
Yeah,
Mean
yeah.
Green
Purdue's
last year.
Purdue is there like their
Pat
side
him on the head.
piece.
Purdue
Duke won 18
Purdue
and
was
11.
a side piece.
the
But their
media-
girl, the one they take to their parents is Gonzaga and Duke.
The
And
media
Kansas.
took a Purdue team that lost to the Mean Green and put them at number 6 in the preseason.
18 and 11.
I mean, like,
Duke was
and they
18-11.
did. So they
was
didn't
18-11.
earn a top 10 seed, and they
Duke
still
was
were given it.
18-11. Duke was 18-11. If we're going to do that, let's be consistent. We can do that.
Fine,
let them be
but
consistent.
fine. But then let's say that Matt Painter is as beloved or just
Matt
one
Painter
notch
is-
below, just one notch below K. And that is an absurd level of media love. That's what I'm saying.
It is.
So it's not binary. And when it's
I'll get
runner-up
there
to
I get there
K-
when there's proof.
When it's runner-up to K during his farewell season, that means that Matt Painter is beloved. And that's what I'm saying. I think Purdue will be number one before 2022 or before January 1st, 2022.
See, here's what's going to happen this week, guys. Here's what's going to happen. Tomorrow night, Ohio State's going to beat Duke in the classic letdown. And then Gonzaga's going to be number one and Purdue's going to be number two next week.
No,
I think
they're not.
That's what's going to happen. And I'm going to be even more ballistic.
They're not. Do you know why? If Purdue actually goes undefeated, which there are two not gimmies.
Right.
There are two real opponents.
Iowa's Friday.
Iowa they score a lot, but they don't have Bohannon and
it's a Big Ten game.
There's funny. I got a great text tonight that said Iowa actually has some defense. My brother sent to me because Virginia had said, I'm like, no.
I don't know about that one.
And I'll tell you why. They're playing Virginia. Virginia at that point had 73 points. Virginia this season, the most points they had scored was 73 points versus the vaunted Radford, whatever the hell they're called. I don't even know what Radford is, but 73 versus Radford. That was their high of the season. And Iowa let them score 73. Iowa's defense is still Iowa's defense.
Iowa's defense is absolutely still Iowa's defense. They're impressive. If you're betting on the game, take the over. It's going to be an NBA score.
That'd be fun. And I think that's where Purdue wants to play, though. That's the funny thing. Painter might not want to, but the team, it's almost like you guys ever have a car that is more comfortable at certain speeds. You can tell when it gets up the highway, it's on a gallop. I've got a car like that right now. It's an old car. And so on the highway, it's like in its happy place. Purdue is happy at 90 miles per hour, right? They are chugging along. When they can play the other way, but they're not quite right. The ride's not the same. The car was it's missing. But boy, when they get moving, goodness, they're fun. So the Radford broccoli burps. That's correct. That's correct, John. Thank you.
John Faker with the Radford broccoli burps.
Yeah, it's a really
tells us for the Highlanders, I guess. There can be only one.
I mean, but wide lens. Purdue is a national title contender. Purdue is number 2. Purdue football just finished an 8-win season where everything didn't go right. It's good. Things are
great. Things are great. Things are great, but I'm still mad because I was like, if this, then this, because there was one path to one. I still believe this because I just think Gonzaga, it's like a snowball. Like they got melted a little. They're just going to gain back all that stuff they had. They've got Alabama still in the pre-con. That's a tough game. It is a tough game. Mm-hmm. And then after that, they have BYU. That's it. So they're going to win.
So they're
going to get up for 2 more games this year.
So they play Alabama on Saturday.
Yeah.
And so that's the only, if Duke loses and Purdue and Gonzaga.
Alabama on Saturday. Oh my God. Oh no.
Oh, but Alabama. Yeah. Not that Alabama on Saturday.
Alabama.
Yeah. Alabama's not playing that day, are they? Oh yeah, they are. They snuck it out.
They're playing Georgia.
Oh boy. Are they playing?
We didn't talk about the Iron Bowl because it was not a good game, but Saban's team had 0 points entering the fourth quarter.
Do you think this Georgia-Alabama game is going to be like when Venus and Serena played early in their career? The league was just telling Georgia, just take it easy. Don't open the full playbook. You guys you're both in.
I think it's like when
Georgia just
Purdue
bloodies their mouth.
I think it's like when Purdue was playing IU in Tiller's last game. I think that's what it is.
You think Georgia's going to beat the crap out of them?
But then again, I'm an idiot. So. I thought Ohio State was going to bloody Michigan, but I think
Georgia, everyone. So
that's that right there, guys. Really this is a weird crossover. That's a cautionary tale for us as Purdue fans because you can't keep beating IU. We're at day 2100 something.
I agree.
2100 days that Purdue has been beating IU. It doesn't make any sense.
I mean, and
IU is going to get them sometime.
We make Woodson jokes, and we will never stop. Let's just be clear. Before I finish my sentence, we will never stop making Woodson jokes.
Yes. Yeah.
That being said, they are coached by a competent adult now.
Absolutely.
They're not coached by.
They already look better. I mean, they don't look great.
They
look
have
better.
A system. They look like they look like they know, like that Trace Jackson Davis, a future NBA player, knows what to do in a system. Oh, look at that. You're utilizing NBA talent. Wow.
Yeah,
Archie.
Yeah.
How was Archie so bad? Incredible. God.
It is incredible. I saw he was on TV the other day. Have you seen him on TV?
Yeah, he's a dynamic presence.
I was going to say, why they hired this guy to be on the television?
He's always been known for his charisma.
Wonderful charisma, great looks, and wonderful sounding voice, melodic tones. He doesn't have much
Basketball
going on there.
acumen.
That's the problem. See, it's really sad because he was a pretty good coach at Dayton. He really was.
Very.
He wasn't coaching over his skis then.
Right.
It's a lot easier to be the underdog. It's a lot easier to be the scrappy underdog than it is to coach the team loaded with talent, I would say, because the pressure's there. Nobody, anything Dayton does is wonderful.
Not everybody can be an underdog like Purdue is now, since they're only number 2.
So,
do we have questions, or do we want more coaching talk?
Oh, hold on a second. There's something. Vortec 4253. Bring up the comment. It's like 5th down. This is awesome. I don't know if you guys saw this. Anish forgot.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
What is it?
Read it out.
Anish forgot to mention our president dressing up like a shark in his list of Purdue weekend highlights. That was awesome, guys.
That was great.
That was great. So if you don't know this, if you haven't been to Ross-Ade in the last couple of years, they do a bit called Where's Mitch? And he's someplace in the stands, and in the games that are sold out, it's pretty fun because everybody's like looking around and, trying to find him. He's generally in the student section. But where is he in the student section? And so this week there was a group of people dressed in fluffy shark costumes, and they found Mitch in the center of it. It was so good. So did they show that on Twitter or something? How'd you guys see
I saw it on
Uh,
Twitter. Yeah.
I saw it on Twitter.
Oh, it's so good. It's so like I was laughing out loud. I was like, that was great. And he was so pitiful standing there.
Yes.
His
He didn't
tiny
look.
face and the big shark mouth. That was great. A lot of fun. There's a lot. I mean, this is a fun game to be in person. Honestly, it really was. There's a lot happening there. So
that's yeah. There's I haven't been to a bucket game in a while, and I just keep thinking back to, and I know I put this up on Twitter, so some of you probably saw this, but in 2019, the last time they played, and man, I feel terrible that IU lost out on a home bucket game. No, I don't actually. They played in 2019, and as you may recall, they won in overtime, and they were on their upward trajectory. They were.
Going to double?
Might have been double overtime. I'm just saying it was an overtime. It was like 44-41. Purdue had the ball at the end of the game and a chance to win. And I vividly remember, also because I went back and read my post, but AOC had I believe, I didn't remember this. It was Milton Wright who dropped a ball that would have put Purdue into field goal range at the end of regulation to win it. And it wasn't, so because of the drop, it was like 4th and 10 at it would have been like a 52-yard field goal, and they couldn't do it. So they just went to overtime. That close to the best IU team in 25 or 30 years, not being able to beat a 4-8 bad Purdue team at the time, AOC was their 4th quarterback of the year. Okay. Yeah. And I remember writing about that and saying, okay, guys, if Tom Allen wasn't going to beat Purdue that game, he was never going to beat Purdue. And I just love it being illustrated so clearly now, because Purdue is.
Oh, you look pretty smart there. I will say that, because you wrote that, and like I remember nobody was upset that Purdue lost that day.
Because
you were optimistic after that, and that's an unusual thing. We're not that way. We don't love the moral victory. That's never been our thing, right?
That team did not quit. It was the 12th game of the year. They were 4-7, and they had not quit.
And walk-ons and second and third stringers were peppered all over the field,
and they almost won that game. And that is what gave me. They believe in Brum. They believe in what they're doing. And I remember getting, I don't know how I even saw it, but one of the IU sites clipped that part of my post and made fun of it. And I was like, I don't think that's the dig you think it is.
Right.
Like that's so Purdue I loved it because it wasn't even like it was close.
I think the dig that we've got and that everybody has, like you've hit it at least 10 times. I know Anish has hit it. The 9 Indiana thing that was actually, or 10 Indiana, pardon me, was printed on shirts.
No, it was 9. 9
It was 9 Indiana.
You were shooting for 9. They were realistic.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes.
They had a fun season, and they had
last
fun
year they
with
probably
it,
and they took it way. It's almost like
I don't care. Take it too far.
Have you guys ever met a girl at camp and you think it's going to be forever? And that's what happened with IU's fun season. They met her and they're like, wow, she's
so in love.
Wonderful. They're so in love. Exactly. I'm going to take her home to mom. They find out by the time they get home, they get a text message, a 2-hour drive. That girl's already back with her old boyfriend from before camp. And they're been talking to their mom and dad for 2 hours about, you're going to meet this girl.
I like this.
Yeah.
Look at this bucket. Oh, wait a minute. It's
Oh,
gone.
that's not my bucket. Turns out I can't keep that bucket. That's Purdue's bucket. That bucket belongs there.
They were legitimately good last year, and that's what's hilarious.
When you are good, talk your nonsense.
Exactly.
But when you're not, it's our turn.
Shut your face when you're not. Exactly.
Yeah, they are shutting their face.
They
That's
haven't
fine.
shut up all
No,
year.
I got to tell you, in person, they don't shut their face.
Yeah.
They don't shut their face.
Who cares?
There was a group
won.
of IU people that were alums yelling at our section when IU had their pick six that wasn't a pick six. It was awesome because we're all pointing at the flag. We had a group of like 9 of us just pointing at the field, and they're taunting our section. And then like things get quiet, and I yell to the guy who's like right down the aisle from me. I'm like, "Hey, Einstein, learn the rules of football. It'll be easier to taunt people. I know it's difficult, but there's a flag down there, and this one's coming back." He's like, I don't know. And then Purdue scores right away, and IU's spirit is broken effectively. It just felt like the air was out of the balloon. But these people were all over the stadium. I guarantee you, if we took a Twitter poll, did you have an IU fan yell something stupid to you in Ross-Ade? Even though there weren't many there, I guess the really dumb ones were there because I know my friend Nick he's a good guy. He's an IU fan. He wouldn't do this stuff. He's not that guy, but they were all over at Ross-Ade. I mean,
I've heard.
Oh my
gosh!
gosh.
A number of people on Twitter said that. I heard this from more than one person. Said there were IU fans saying, "See you in basketball season," and people were saying, "That's not quite the dig. That's not all right."
Yeah.
I think it's on the calendar already.
Exactly. Maybe twice.
Excited.
It'll be good.
Yeah.
It'll be great. We'll see you.
See you.
Not sure if you've watched Purdue this year, but
hey, can I inform you of Brian Kelly's reported contract without incentives?
Oh, this is new.
Please
good.
Do.
Switching gears.
10 years, $100 million plus incentives. So just in case it wasn't enough.
So,
10 years,
what you're saying, like when people were saying, when I say people, I mean Michael from Boyle Sports saying, I don't know why you'd go to the LSU. Well, that's it.
So
that's
LSU
is he getting paid 7.8 at Notre Dame?
He made something like 8, or I think like 6 or 7. He could have easily made 8.
Making good money.
8.5 if you wanted to.
That'll
9
pay the bills, I believe. I think it's not bad.
Said to you guys what I said.
I don't understand this.
He topped out. What more? He's winning 11, 12 games a year at Notre Dame and is not beloved. If you win 11, 12 games a year and they're building you statues and you're making $8 million, sure, you retire there. But he knows the first 5 and 7 season he is fired. There is no doubt.
Sucks.
I know he sucks, but he wins a lot of games, man.
Just try not being.
You know what?
Sucky.
We've disliked him since he got hired. You can't argue with results. He wins a lot.
He's a perfectly good Notre Dame. I mean, the best Notre Dame football coach
all time.
Yeah, I mean,
all time. No. Make sure you say that because they don't like that. So make sure you say he's got more wins than any Notre Dame.
Yeah, they do not like that, which is awesome. But that's the thing. From now on, we can say, like you talk to Notre Dame fans, you gotta say, well, he's the best Notre Dame coach ever. Just keep saying
lost the best coach you ever had.
Yeah, that's sad. You got plucked by the SEC. That's sad.
But he got them in the playoff, and he got them in the playoff. He won.
They
more
were
than
about to.
They're
going to go in the playoff.
They might go this year too,
exactly.
and that's why he. What more could he do? Now, I will say, of all the SEC schools you could go to, you might be going to one of the more unpredictable as far as like Edo says something to the wrong person, and now he's out.
Like if he goes to Florida, I get this, but LSU, I do not.
Why do you not get it? You think it's one of the best jobs in the country?
Because LSU, LSU, it is. No.
I'm confused.
Not why did he take the job?
Okay,
but I don't understand the fit like that.
From LSU's point of view, why they want him?
Like winner.
Oh, yeah, but he doesn't recruit. I mean, like when you're at LSU, the advantage that LSU has is the biggest concentration and monopoly on talent in the country. So
that's not going away.
Yeah, but it's not like Brian Kelly was awesome recruiting local guys. Yeah, he doesn't run a recruiting.
I see. He doesn't have Southern connections. What you're saying?
He's never coached south of the Mason-Dixon line. So it's like he never coached south of the Ohio River. I don't know. So it's like I don't get it at all.
I don't think he has.
So it's like that fit. Now Florida, much more buttoned up, of the national blue blood brands that you can jump to from there. I mean, it's a little more sane, in fact, than
LSU. Maybe it is.
LSU. The only thing that is more insane than LSU is Texas. I mean, like,
So here's an interesting thing.
God,
he's going to win 4 games.
You
and
guys
it's
might
gonna
think
be
about this.
awesome.
So Les
Kelly,
Miles,
you think?
I don't think Kelly is going to be very
He's not
successful
going to
at
win 4.
LSU.
no, he'll get up. He'll get up there around 9 or 10. I bet he will. And guess what? That's going to be sucky for the LSU fans,
Oh
right?
yeah, not going to
Because Les Miles, who won a national title, averaged 10 a year, and they ran him out of town. Right? Ed Orgeron won a national title. They ran him out. Of town. And he was like a mascot and a coach, double duty.
Apparently, there was other stuff with Ed, but like the beloved Ed.
They
but he'll
only
take
gave
a couple years
shit
off.
as an excuse to get rid of him.
You are correct. You are
They
correct.
didn't care about that, and
You
they
are
never did.
absolutely
And
correct.
he didn't suddenly start doing things that were untoward right after that. Give me a break.
No.
Give me a break.
You are correct. So first of all, let's say that the way that I tweeted this out earlier, there is one logical way for this to go, which is Luke Fickell is the this is the job he was waiting for.
Notre Dame.
The last coach that Notre Dame hired from Cincinnati worked out very well for them.
Yep.
They should probably just do it. He is a no nonsense, no frills, like very calm, does the thing, and then their defensive coordinator goes and takes the Cincinnati job.
Yep,
right.
This is very
Marcus
logical.
Freeman gets the Cincinnati job, and
Very
all is
logical.
right in the
You're
world.
welcome,
The circle of
everyone.
life.
Yes.
Boiled
Circle of
Sports
Rife.
will take $500,000 for this idea. We are the search firm.
But we
Urban
know
Meyer
that's
is
not
out
going to
there.
happen. Exactly.
Urban Meyer is out there, and oh my God, if they hire Urban Meyer
They're going
on
to.
a
It's
clear
gonna be
decline,
great.
Urban Meyer has lost his marbles.
And he's going to go there. Here's the problem. Here's what's going to happen. This is my predictions. You say Urban Meyer will come there. He won't be very good. I say Urban Meyer is going to come there. I think he's going to win a national title, and then he's going to have an Urban Meyer moment.
I don't
you're
think
like
I
3,
think
4, something like that.
Michael pointed this out to me. I think Rondale Moore just had him entirely had him losing his marbles. Jay Money was sadly eating his pizza on the golf cart. I think that was it. I think that was the end of Urban Meyer.
But I think more dangerous for Notre Dame is not so much the win-loss record. It's where do you hide the cheerleaders?
Brian Kelly. To be fair, here's the fit. Brian Kelly goes from one school that will hide several dead bodies to another school that will hide several dead bodies. So it's a good cultural fit.
That's a good, So Anish, you said
when Brian Kelly killed a kid. Do you remember that?
I do. I remember that.
Do you
I remember that. Yeah,
okay, we all remember this, right? I'm not in crazy town.
No,
I didn't just dream that.
No,
okay,
no. So Anish, you sent out one of the best finds of the weekend was Ed O's post game, or was that Jade? Who said that?
No, Anish sent that.
So Anish said this, and
presser.
it was wonderful. Ed O coming into the room and yelling, "Go Tigers!" How about them Tigers? Something like that, right? And the media room was dead, like they were at the wake of a man. And he poked fun at you. Didn't expect that.
We're gonna be serious. We're gonna be serious.
Exactly. That's great.
And then he finished.
This was right after Lincoln Riley basically turned down LSU for USC.
Well, because he had been pleading with everyone. I'm not going to coach at LSU.
He was right. And
you think he had to write it on his hand to make sure he said the right 3 letters?
Because it's 3 letters. You still might.
But here's the thing: we talk about Purdue State media. Not a single reporter in Oklahoma asked him a single follow-up question.
Well, okay, I'm not defending because you're right. It's state media there too, and ass-kissing media there too. But I don't think they thought that was a possibility. I think they were so sure the only risk was a program like LSU that once he said unequivocally, I'm not going there, guys. He didn't say, I'm going to be the coach here.
That's right.
You know that when a coach answers like that, and there have been so many rumblings, that it's your job to say, hey, how about any of these other openings?
Yeah, or say, so you're saying you're going to be at
Oklahoma. You're staying. So you will be at Ohio. You will be at Oklahoma. You'll be at Ohio State. You'll be at Oklahoma next year, correct? Just ask a follow-up.
That's a nice follow-up. I like that.
That's a good follow-up.
Be a journalist.
Right.
But we talk, we talk
again,
about
these people have votes in the AP basketball poll.
Purdue State media is state media.
Yeah.
It's also bad though. And it's just like when we've seen like when we've seen coaches get mad at media for daring to ask them a question and actually saying stuff like, you're not being supportive and missing the point entirely that the media's job is not to support your propaganda. And I'll give you another. So at the end of Ed O's presser, he said, and I liked what he said because he said, I've really had a good time with all of you. I've looked forward to talking to all of you. You all were fair to me. He didn't say you supported me or you supported. He said y'all were fair to me.
Yeah.
That to me is a fine compliment to give to the media because you're not saying because they reported on the shit he did. They reported on it. That's part of the reason he got. Well, maybe the locals didn't, but it got reported the stuff that got him fired. But he still said they were fair. I watched Matt Campbell give a press conference after their last game, who I like, and mixed in all the comments, he was saying, have a great holiday. We've really appreciated your support. He said to the media, and I was like. That mentality is what drives me nuts. The media doesn't owe you a damn thing. What they owe us stuff. They owe us. They report to all of us.
Yeah.
So I that's a big one for me. And
their client is not the thing they're reporting on. Their client is the person they're bringing the news to.
Right. And you can act like it doesn't matter, but we're the whole reason you make $100 million.
The point is sunlight, so that a football program can't kill a kid and just have nobody know about it.
And people will. Right. And that's the thing, right? It's rarely that important. Okay. But when you don't actually force guys to keep honest stuff about injuries or plans or coaches or discipline or whatever, then you create under the rug. Deaths, drug use,
sexual assault.
Right. Yeah. Right.
Like, so sexual abuse. Like, I mean, that's what you have the cult of personality of D'Antonio and Izzo up in Michigan State.
Nish, what do you think of Michigan State?
Paterno?
I would love to hop on. Now that all the press conferences, not all of them anymore, but a lot of them were through Zoom, I feel like I missed an opportunity to get credentialed and ask a. Now, I wouldn't ask Mel Tucker this because
he'll grind you into
Mel would find me. He'd find me. Yeah. But I would love to ask someone in Mel Tucker's position who was given that contract, hey, do you have any issue morally or otherwise with the kind of organization that you've just hitched yourself to for $95 million? And I don't care if that's unfair. I don't care if he wasn't there. Once you become the highest paid employee in the state, you should answer questions.
Ever.
Here's an easier question that easily could be asked. What will you do as the face of Michigan State to change the culture? Because we all know that there is no way that this is a great job, particularly for a non-white coach to get a job like Michigan State and to be paid like that. It is it's a breakthrough. And we make jokes about Mel Tucker and all of this, but it is great for the sport to have a person like Mel Tucker. Now, what are you, and we have to accept that Michigan State, much to my dismay, is not going to disappear off the face of the earth. So the question is, you are now, over Tom Izzo, you are the face of this program and this athletic department. What are you going to do to change this? It is so easy, but you give up your access by doing that.
Right.
So it's got to be a national guy. But now national guys are breaking these kind of reports, right? Breaking contract reports. And it's about need this kind of, fluff piece access, right? And that's when nobody asks. That's when
$100 million employees of any sort should actually be held up to more scrutiny than anyone else. And I always hate it's the same shit that they hid behind at Penn State. He told his bosses. That argument's been used in so many organizations.
You're the most powerful person in the state.
Exactly. Yeah. Once you are that person, you have to make the difficult decisions because you're paid that way. It's like a CEO of a company. The CEO can't say, well, I mean, it's kind of a hard thing.
I reported it to HR.
Yeah. No. You have to take action because you are the top dog. Yeah. So I don't know why I'm getting so worked up.
No, but it's just
this is something that's important.
It's just a follow-up question. It's just a follow-up question, and nobody asks because it's not worth it.
Yeah, but again, that's why it's important because ultimately it does get to stuff like kids being killed. It does get to people being raped, sexually assaulted. The people at Michigan State, that's not a terrible place because of recruiting improprieties. It's a terrible place because it ruined
human lives.
This is the other thing is honestly, we can make cheating jokes and all of this. The rules are going to change. And so eventually what was cheating at one point is not going to be. And
it's already changed, right?
And honestly, it's just we're drawing a line in the sand and saying you kind of have to play in here. And if people play outside the lines, it is what it is.
We laugh when they get caught.
We laugh at it. We make it. We make jokes. We will call them cheaters. It is what it is. That is.
But here's my thesis on this, and let's see if I'm proven correct. Okay, that the people that cheat now, with the rules constructed as they are, will cheat further.
Sure,
because they're people of low character.
I mean,
like
maybe,
let's Kelvin Sampson. I've heard IU fans say, "Well, if the rule wasn't this, then blah 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 blah." Right? It doesn't matter. Kelvin Sampson was going to try to get an edge. That was really what he was doing.
But the Kelvin Sampson stuff is funny to joke about. Exactly. Meaning not joke about, but it's funny.
There's no parallel with Kelvin Sampson doing whatever with texts and phone calls and people getting raped and them having the police in the bag where they stop investigations.
Accountability, and especially when you're being paid this much money, $100 million plus incentives is what Brian Kelly is to move down to Baton Rouge.
Yeah.
I mean, you get to have these questions. Meanwhile, he's going to murder more. He's going to murder dozens.
Crime spree. You've thrown him to gators.
I want a full play-by-play on how this LSU, me and my sicko coaching carousel love. I want a full play-by-play on this LSU coaching carousel.
I am certain that they talked to him a while ago.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
this wasn't like over the last few days.
And I think wasn't it last week?
I think he's looking thinner this week, this last couple of weeks. Maybe he's thin because not gonna help. Maybe but maybe he's thin because he was nervous and he stopped eating that delicious Campbell soup that he's been eating his whole life.
Did you see? I sent you guys a tweet where it said,
Jones.
Brian Kelly looks like he thinks Sprite is too spicy. So how's he going to work Cajun food? Like,
it'll be great.
Man.
And what's crazy is that I think so. There are 12 blue blood jobs. You can argue with the ones at the bottom of this, like whether Penn State actually still is a blue blood job, but
Nebraska's
LSU,
number one.
Yeah, Nebraska, obviously, LSU, USC, Oklahoma, Texas. Recently Ohio State have all, and now Notre Dame have all opened up, and it's so wild that so many, half of these blue bloods have opened up. In recent years.
Well, and what's amazing to me is that as much as we like to laugh at them, Nebraska didn't open yet. Incredibly. Texas didn't open. Texas hasn't opened. And the only reason Texas isn't open is because they just hired Sark a year ago. Right. It's the only reason. Because this year started 4-2 and they were ranked and then they lost 5 in a row or some such crap. Oh, it's so great. It's so freaking great.
It's wild that there are so many openings that this is probably the silliest silly season, and at least so far no Big Ten teams are open. Now again, Jeff Brom could get hired away tomorrow and we'll see.
I think they all played defense, right? I mean, they all put up a
gave raises.
It's rich.
I don't think
everybody's rich, and actually the Big Ten, most people are happy.
Yeah, I don't think anybody in the Big Ten is gonna open, right? No one's getting fired.
Nebraska is the one.
It's not opening now though. They're definitely keeping him right.
Michigan State was under risk of opening because of Tucker, leaving somewhere else.
Honestly, Purdue's in maybe the
worst in warning, but we'll see. I mean, I don't.
His name will be coming up a lot more right now. Remember 2-3 years ago, it was coming up on every single article.
Right.
After going 6-6.
And
twice.
For some reason, nobody wants birds.
Nobody wants birds. That's weird. Well, they can't pay for all that food. It's not the money; it's the amount of feed that it takes for that area.
The road money,
it's depletion.
The meal money is.
You called it feed.
Feed. He just straps a bag onto his face and buries it until it's gone.
Astonished they went 5-7.
Shout out to Bert.
They won some games, man. They played. They beat the
coach
out of Northwestern. Next coach of Iowa. Is that what you said?
Next coach of Iowa.
Bert.
Yeah, man. Doesn't he have a hog tattooed on him somewhere?
He's got a Hawkeye on him. I know
he'll go to he'll go
Hawkeye.
there,
yeah, he's got the Hawkeye on his shin or something.
He'll go and then he'll end the tradition.
I'm sorry, I said hog. His face looks like a hog. That's
and he coached for the Hogs. And
sure,
became a hog during that time. So.
Yeah.
He will end the tradition of waving to the sick kids just because he thinks it makes them not tough.
Exactly,
it's just too much work, too much cardio.
Yeah, I don't want to distract him. I don't want to distract him.
That'll get in the way of his games.
They're gonna hold up a big turkey leg and wave it.
Exactly. Maybe somebody else will hold it and it kind of make him do.
How do we get around to this? Now we're talking about Bert as the Iowa head coach.
Yeah,
Ferentz looks like he made some sort of a deal, he's 116 years old, and he made some sort of
he looks pretty good.
As long as he doesn't, it's like the end of The Last Crusade, where as long as you don't take the Grail from Iowa's campus, you will never die.
Right.
So
right.
that's why he's not leaving. There's no reason to. He's going to live.
Hey, Big Ten West champions Iowa. I hope that they have enjoyed their enjoyable Big Ten West winning season.
If Purdue
joy suck,
beats
what a joy suck of a program.
Crap ass PJ Fleck Minnesota team. That's the only thing you change this year, and Purdue is playing in the title game and would be ducking Ohio State in that scenario. And I'm not saying they'd be Michigan.
I know,
but
Michigan,
you're saying Purdue would be going to the national championship.
That's it. That's exactly what we're saying.
They'd be listen how giddy you would be right now if Purdue had 9 wins and was going to Indianapolis this Saturday with a chance to screw up Michigan's playoff hopes. Yeah, I don't care about this. Going back to your point, you're not winning a national title here, but oh boy, can you have some fun.
Right. Yeah. Did you hear David Bell? He had a very interesting comment, which made my wheels turn a bit. He said, Aiden really, he found his rhythm when he started his second or third week starting. He really became the guy that we thought he could be, and he really had a grasp on the game. He said he'd be in Heisman talk right now if he would have started all season and played this way. And I was like, yeah, he would have. Yeah, and David if he did that, Purdue would have 10 or 11 wins. Yeah, but this is like
David Bell should be in Heisman talk. And let's just shout out Jordan Davis, the gigantic rhinoceros of a human who
terrifying and wonderful.
Oh, yeah. I want him on the Colts so bad. I just want ginormous.
That shouldn't be a problem to get to the second round for a Colts. He'll slip.
Yeah.
Maybe Aiden is sitting down right now with Big George and with David Bell and saying, guys,
conspiring. Hey,
let's run it back.
Let's
run it back. Let's win the Big Ten, and let's one more time, guys.
And George and David are just laughing. He's like, no, seriously, no, guys. No. Hey, seriously.
No. You got to. Maybe you didn't hear what I said. This wasn't a joke. Can you take Aiden O'Connell seriously with that mustache?
I can't. His face is so baby.
Somebody pointed out to us that GIF of him with the finger, and his wrist doesn't move. It's his finger. It's just his finger, and he's
got dexterity, man.
Super fast.
Yes,
he does this at a speed. He's going like this. He's going like this, except his wrist isn't moving.
Yeah, see that? Those are the NFL measurables.
The ball.
That's a quarterback's hand.
Those are the NFL measurables that you can't.
You can make all the jokes you want. That is a quarterback's hand being able to do things that normal humans can't. Look at the way he throws the damn ball.
Yeah.
His arm is good. His arm is much
better. What he does better than anybody, guys. He throws a ball before a guy's even starting his break.
Oh, yeah.
And he throws it to the perfect spot. He is so good at that. I mean, I don't know. I don't think Mac Jones has that big of an arm. I know he doesn't run the ball well. I think that comparison, I know you can say where they started Mac Jones was
you put
a superhuman coming out of
an LSU or an Alabama.
Get out of here.
With those big lines?
Man. And super, I mean, everybody's David Bell or David Bell's cousin. I mean,
think about that.
All right, guys. Well, I want to thank a couple more sponsors. We thanked the AJs, but thanks to Gridiron Metalworks, you're really getting close in time. If you were thinking about ordering something for your family, get your order in now. Head to gridironmetalworks.com. Enter Boiled at checkout. Get 15% off. Be the hero at Christmas. Right?
Yes. Do they get something different if they go through the link on our site, or do they just have to enter Boiled?
Just enter Boiled. You're fine.
Okay.
You're fine there. Martin Vintage just got done with the sale, but they have the sale that's always going through the site. If you're enter Boiled at martinvintage.com, 15% off there. And they have an excellent Oaken Bucket shirt that you should check out. We all have one. It's really solid. And it references the bucket being where it lives, right in West Lafayette. Yes. So check it out.
It was on loan. It was on loan.
Exactly. On loan. And now it's back to like what? Yeah. Oh, of course. Head to the Boiled Sports Fan Shop, where we're running out of everything. Quite honestly, I get notifiers. Jay's the guy who does the hard work and gets the stuff to you. But you can get a rocks glass. You can get a quarter zip. You can get a tech shirt.
This was just bought today. Yesterday, and I'm going to get it in the mail.
So before Jay sends anything out to you, he puts his cologne all over it, and oh boy, when you open that box, you're gonna be in heaven.
I seal every box with a kiss.
Exactly.
I lick the rim of the rocks glass that you purchase, so do not wash them immediately.
It's like the J Money version of a margarita. Just
right,
just dip it in salt.
Just dip
It's
it in
good.
salt. It's great. Yeah.
All of a sudden, sales are going to plummet
Through the floor. No, it's been great. And if you really were thinking about getting the rocks glasses, we're close.
Yeah, we're low. We're low. I want to say 4 or 5 left, something like that.
Yep.
Not
And we do appreciate everybody who's been purchasing, and I guarantee you when you break out that rocks glass when your family's over and you put a little bourbon in there and some ice or not, man, I guarantee your family's gonna be impressed because they know that you're part of the BS family. That's like
right.
inner circle type stuff. That's
right.
pretty cool. So, so next week, Anish says when we meet, Purdue will be number 1. I think is the way I'm gonna
one in the country in football and basketball.
in basketball.
Yeah. Purdue will be going to Las Vegas for the bowl. That's what I'm predicting.
I think
what other?
I think that's to me the logical place. So
Luke Fickell will be the head coach at Notre Dame. What are the other big openings that are still there?
Oklahoma.
And our boy Marcus Freeman will be at Cincinnati. All will be right in the world. Unfortunately, he was number 1 currently on the Boiled Sports placeholder search firm for Purdue, but that's okay. We get Marcus Freeman needs a job. He
can still go get him if Brom ever does leave. You can go get Freeman.
How about this question? Is there any chance Bieniemy would land in Oklahoma?
No.
I don't think.
I mean, I thought about it, but I thought about it. But
man, that's a guy.
He needs like the Bears job or something.
He needs an NFL job. Yeah.
Give Bieniemy the Bears job and give him Justin Fields. Oklahoma, Matt Campbell. I mean, come on, don't overthink this.
Not Heupel.
Just simple.
Not Heupel.
No, I would say Campbell's easier.
I would say take Campbell. The Heupel has 1 year. Campbell has a larger sample
and the
size.
Conference thing won't be a big deal in 2 years. I mean,
it's a much better or Venables. Just do Venables and an offensive guy. Hire a good offensive coordinator like Graham Harrell. Another just don't overthink these, you idiots. Just do the simple thing.
And the thing, if they do that, the carousel will come to a screeching halt.
Yeah, because
fun time's over then. But
I know, but
we've had a pretty good couple of days.
Yeah, I think it's over anyway because if Urban Meyer gets hired, the other thing is who is his staff going to be at Notre Dame if he goes? He is way behind on hiring staff. He's way behind on recruiting.
But you act like that. No, you act like there are people that aren't as slimy as him that don't want to work for him. There are tons
but they're
of them.
already
they're
employed.
waiting in that tall grass on their bellies.
Employed. That's the thing.
He's got Notre Dame money at that point, no problem.
Yeah, he's got Notre Dame money, but Notre Dame is not going to have enough to hire people. It's going to be awesome. I hope they hire him. It's going to be so terrible. Yeah. Fickell would just have him running the same. Running the same and killing fewer kids.
It's like 0. They'd almost kill 0.
Almost 0. Yeah.
That's a good number.
So that's what we'll leave you with next week. Those are our predictions, the Boiled Sports official predictions. We've said.
Yep. And if you guys want to hire the Boiled Sports search committee, we are for hire. Anish heads that up most of the time.
Cashier's check or money order only.
Yep. And we are always ready. We're always ready.
Bags of cash. I mean, I take duffel bags of cash.
We'll take duffel bags. We'll make an exception. We have to be able to lift them, but yes.
Yep. And we do appreciate everybody tuning in tonight. Keep tuned in to Anish and Jay and Boiled Sports on Twitter if you want to get all your coaching updates, get that itch scratched, and hear me complain about Purdue not being number 1, because I'll try not to do that anymore. But it's not good to feed your rage. Anyway, have a great evening. I love you guys. Good night.